What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bobby with Gator Gang Podcast, and I am joined by my co-hosts Lucas and Daryl. How you guys doing tonight?
What's
We're
up?
doing pretty good.
Could be
We're,
better.
we're,
Could be better.
we're doing pretty good. Could be better after friggin' Saturday when
Yes,
we gave it 300 yards. God
I would
damn.
I would love to be doing this podcast on a winning note, especially when we already have a loss in the L column, that a game that we should have won, and just when you thought that Florida would be better than that. And then they turn around and have another game that they should have won, 10.5 point favorites. And
And you know what's worse? And I drunk a fight the day after.
yes, we will get into all of that, but let's start at the top. The headline going into this game, Daryl and Lucas, was that Florida, being the number 3 team in the nation in rushing, and LSU cannot stop the run. And LSU 127th in rushing offense and only averaging 83 yards per game coming into this game. And LSU just walks all over Florida in the run
And
department.
they set up. I don't mean to cut you off, but they ran for an LSU school record.
Yes, an LSU school record. This is something that you do against Georgia Southern, Jacksonville State, smaller tier schools like that. That's not something that you do against the University of Florida. This is the most rushing yards by a running back since 1980, when Herschel Walker ran all over Florida. But that is coming from one of the greatest college running backs of all time. So I mean, I guess we can give that a hard pass, even though it's a Georgia running back. But this here, oh my goodness! I mean, I'm at a loss of words for what this coming into this game, what the storylines were, and what the storylines are coming out of this game. Because I feel, as every game that we've gone into this year, I believe we've had more questions than answers of where we go from here. So, Daryl, I'm gonna start with you. How are you feeling after this loss?
I mean, this is an unacceptable loss for the University of Florida and the Gators. I mean, it's hands down. It's unacceptable. We should have won this football game. And I
If
don't
our
know.
defense makes one goddamn stop, we win the.
So I go in. I'll go on my rant about the defense if you want me to, but.
We'll get to the defense side of
Yeah,
the
yeah. So
argument.
look, it's just an unacceptable loss. I mean, the Kentucky loss, that's unacceptable. This was even more unacceptable. We should have went into this game and won. We scored 42,
42 goddamn
42
points.
points, and then at the second half we scored 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns out of 5 drives or 6 drives. I mean, it's the defense is a problem there, and we'll go into the rants about that, but. Unacceptable. It's just an unacceptable loss for the University of Florida.
So
I'm about
we're so we're gonna start off like this. Okay, Florida comes into this game with with the expectations of being able to win this game, with LSU having 6 defensive starters out of the game, not being able to run for a lick, not being able to stop a run, and they completely change up pretty much everything. And really had a great game plan for the Gators. And in the first half, Emory Jones, could not really get settled in the game. Had 2 interceptions, went 12 for 19, 161 yards. Had the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, which was
lucky.
spectacular. It gave us a much needed spark that we definitely needed going into halftime. But here we are talking about what was it last week, against Vanderbilt, going into halftime, conservative. But this is why that you want to push the ball and you want to try to make something happen when you got some time left on the clock.
Yeah, great call by Dan. I love the timeout. I like to see that because we didn't do that in the Kentucky game. But great call. We gave an opportunity. You throw a Hail Mary, you score points. That's a lucky play. Defensively, LSU, I don't know what they were doing, but you score a touchdown. That's great.
we just make one god darn stop.
Yeah.
So
But look, I will tell you this: what's really that you hit on it too, and I forget about this. They had 60 scholarship players playing in this football game. They had COVID numbers. If nothing else, by the fourth quarter, we should have been pushing them around. I mean, I don't know.
And another
Just
thing, I
aggravates
don't
me.
mean to cut you off, Daryl, but if but if Demon doesn't see that AR gives us the best chance to win it going forward, I can't help him.
so
AR
we
is obvious.
Yeah, so we
AR
started the second half a heck of a lot better than we did the
Yeah,
first half, and kind of get something going with Anthony Richardson in the game. And to me, it just looked like the offense flowed a little better. The line held up a little better. The receivers were able to get some separation, or maybe it's Anthony Richardson being better with timing
it's all
with
about
the
timing.
route. So I just feel like we were in more of a rhythm with AR in the game.
Yeah, AR has the timing, and Emery is such a talented quarterback. That's what aggravates me, and he's been there at Florida for enough time to realize what he should be doing. But he overthinks it. You can watch him play, and he overthinks his throw, and it's too late. Or he overthinks the when he needs to take off and run, and it's too late. And AR just yeah, he made mistakes, but he's a freshman. But he also just let it loose and played ball, and he trusted his arm, and he put the ball where he needed to. He played the RPO to perfection. That's exactly what Dan Mullen needs to do with these quarterbacks. Is you know fake to the running back, fake the quarterback run, get the ball down to the field to the open running back. I mean, that's what the RPO does. That's what the running quarterbacks do, and he did it to perfection. He did it to perfection. He threw an interception at the end of the game. I feel sorry for the kid about that, but he did everything he needed to do to put Florida in position to win the football game.
and if our deep, I'll say it again. If our defense makes one goddamn mother bleeping stop, we win the game.
So okay, go
So
ahead.
those of y'all who are watching, y'all drop a comment. Let us know what y'all think about Emory Jones, Anthony Richardson. Who do y'all think should be the starter? What do y'all think should happen to Todd Grantham? What do y'all think should happen to Dan Mullen? I really want to know y'all's responses to all these questions and more because we all have the same questions and I don't shoot down nobody's opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Just
Yep.
don't make anybody feel any less of their opinion because everybody's entitled one. So with that being said, let's all we know that winning solves a lot of things and losing just brings a lot of negativity and all of that. So let's make sure that we're keeping it cool and cool, calm, and collective in the groups of not bashing players because the one thing that we seem to forget is these are college students. These are student athletes that they worry about school. They got to worry about sports. They got to worry about if they got a job or whatever the case may be. That they have a life too.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to see sometimes of the bashing. So
Here's a good take. You know, I'm critical at times as a fan. I mean, I was just critical of EJ, and I just gave some, examples of where you could improve. But I also gave examples of how he's a talented quarterback. So, sometimes you can criticize, but make sure that you're always thinking of some of the good things as well, because they are kids, and you got kids coming and they see these comments, they see the groups, they if I'm a father and I'm looking around, I'm like, look, you sure you want to go over here? So you
right,
do have
right.
to be careful because recruits do look at that stuff, and so yeah, you can be critical, and I mean I do the same thing, but try to think of something positive as well, because there's usually something there, and then yeah, where
Emory
your
Jones,
perspective is.
Emory Jones did some great things in the game.
Yeah, he did. He did, and he is a very talented quarterback. He was highly recruited. He was recruited by a lot of players, a lot of teams. He's got things he's got to work on, but he is a very talented quarterback. Right now, AR seems like the best solution for the problem. But I mean, that's just from eyes and looking. But that doesn't mean I'm right in that.
Let me ask you this: if AR was the starter game one, what would a record be?
You know what? let's not talk about all of that because we're not there during the practices and the decision making
Yeah.
of all of that. But let's go from here because I think with what we've seen, I think we've seen enough to say that AR-15 it should be your starter throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, why
Should
not?
be.
I mean, the see,
I
That
look,
doesn't
look,
mean that doesn't mean AR EJ should not play, but AR should be the
I
starter.
think yes, exactly,
look,
Lucas. I think their roles should be reversed. Go ahead, Daryl.
exactly. And right now, we're playing for a bowl game. We're playing to maybe upset Georgia. That would be a highlight of the season. But right now you're preparing for next year. I mean, and this is your guy. I mean, if EJ may stay, he may go somewhere else. He may, I don't know. We don't really know what's going to happen at the end of the year. But you need to start preparing this guy because that's freshman. He's coming back, and if he's leaving, then you're in trouble. So this is the guy that we need to focus on if we're gonna,
I mean, if
if
AR
we're gonna.
leave, you have Nick Evers coming in next year, and then Anthony Richardson, and then EJ. That's about it.
Hmm. You know, Emory Jones, Anthony Richardson, they both bring great things to the game. They both
Yeah,
bring
and I
their
love.
own element, and I love them both. But when I look at the a freshman and Anthony Richardson, yes, he makes some mistakes. I mean, he's only as we're saying a
It was high
freshman.
school. I mean, he's a kid.
So he's going to make these mistakes, but his ceiling, let me let y'all know about a play that y'all need to look more deeper into. The Gators are going down the field against the wind, and he drops an absolute dime to Copeland on that 33-yard touchdown. And the wind's about 20 miles in his face. So
Yeah,
you got to get some zip on that ball. And the defender's there, and he just led that pass perfect. I mean,
there's just
his
some
ceiling is a lot higher.
quarterbacks that have the it factor, and I do like the two quarterbacks. And I think sometimes it hurts us. I like the two, and I said this in the beginning of the season. I like the two quarterback systems only because it forces other teams to prepare for two quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if AR, he may not have the knowledge of the system
Right.
like EJ may have, but he just has the it factor. He just makes the play work and he gets it to the guy. And I don't care if he doesn't know the playbook to the best, he just makes it work. And some people just have it. Tim Tebow had it at Florida, and he just seems like AR has it as well. And I'm not comparing AR to Tim Tebow. I'm just saying he's got that it factor
Danny
in
Warhol had
the
it.
player.
In his freshman year, Tim Tebow only got a handful of plays, but when he did a handful of plays that he was in there, he was electrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's what kind of Anthony Richardson has shown. But the difference is, and again, I'm not doing the whole comparing thing, but the difference is you had Chris Leak who had more consistency and doing the right things, which made Tim Tebow's job kind of a lot easier. But and shout out to Emory Jones of when Anthony Richardson was going down the field and they had the 3rd and 13 and Dan Mullen switched quarterbacks and put Emory Jones in the game and he converted on that 3rd and 13. I got to give props where props where it's given, but at the end of the day that I don't think I can't sit here and say that we would have been okay. We would have came back where we would have been able to keep in this game if we would have continued with Emory Jones. I
No,
feel like Anthony Richardson gave us that spark. He kept us in it.
yeah.
And,
Sometimes
and
you gotta.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but he apparently was like, I'm a Gator for now, and then he tweeted after the game. He's like, I'm not going anywhere.
Anthony's not
So,
going over. He's a Gainesville kid. He is not going anywhere. He's going to play for the University of Florida. But here's one thing. What's to say? I mean, just because EJ may not be the quarterback, does that mean that he's out of at a different position? I mean, he is talented. He can run the ball. Maybe he's a slot guy. I don't know. There's something, I don't know. You can think of 100 different things to do stuff there, but
Well, let's not forget about what we did see. We did see the pass from Whitmore
exactly.
to Emory Jones.
Well,
So
yeah. So why can't?
keeping him in there and
Yeah.
that Hail Mary to Justin Shorter, if y'all notice, Anthony Richardson was in that pile too.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
out there too. So,
yeah,
we're seeing both quarterbacks on the
yeah.
field at the same
Yeah,
time.
so, I mean, you know, you're gonna play. You're gonna play, especially if you're talented. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Um, the kid, I love both the quarterbacks. I do feel like right now, just based off of what I could tell, AR was a little banged up in that Kentucky game, so he didn't really do too hot in that game. But he seems to be pretty healthy right now. He definitely showed that he's got the ability to get the ball down the field.
Exactly. So let's switch gears a little bit because we've talked a lot about the offense, but I know there's a lot more to talk about with this defense. And we're definitely going
Oh
to get
God,
into this defense because I
the
know there's going to
defense.
be some rant rolling going on right now. So, I'm just going to bring this up. Let me just drop a few things, some stats for y'all, and I just got to let y'all know. Um, Davis Pierce had 36 carries for 287 yards, three touchdowns, which set a school record for LSU for the most yards ever run by a running back in school history. And
Go for it.
hold on, Lucas. This is the most yards ever ran on Florida's defense since Herschel Walker. So, with that being said, the Florida defense looked horrible. And it was the same one play that got Florida fooled time and time again. And Daryl, I'm going to start with you because we talked about this pregame on Saturday after the game. We talked about this before we went live here. So I'm going to let you have the floor.
Yeah. So listen, this is something that has to change at Florida. People calling for there's fans that are calling for Dan Mullen's head. Well, it's not so much Dan. Dan has to make the right decision here and figure out what he's going to do because the
Fire,
defense isn't working.
fire Tiger in his
Yeah,
ass.
look, the defense isn't working. Okay, and I don't care
42
if you're
points should be enough points to
yeah,
win a game.
I don't care if you're putting up 42 or 55. Look, last year, go look at last year. I pulled up last year's schedule, and anybody can go look at this. We were in the 40s, in the 30s. The Texas A&M game, we scored 41. We scored 38 points. They scored 41. You can't win. You can't win that way. 38 points should have been more than enough to win that football game. The Alabama game in the SEC championship. This was last year, and I
40.
said this all started last year. This defense started last year. And the Alabama game in the SEC championship, 52-46. We couldn't stop them. We can't stop them. We're a Pac-12 team right now. We can score all the points in the world. Dan Mullen is a great schemer, and he can scheme the offense. But if he does not make a decision here on Grantham, and I'm not just talking about Grantham, I think they need to look at the entire defensive staff and make some changes completely, because he's in the same boat. He's in the same boat as Will Muschamp and McElwain. Will Muschamp was a great defensive coordinator. 2012, we had the best defense that we had in years. We won most of our games because of defense. We just couldn't score any points. He
Absolutely.
at least tried by changing out offensive coordinators multiple times. He just couldn't find one. He just couldn't find one. But if he would have, if you want to be an elite team, we can have an elite offense. We can score points. We can score points at the University of Florida. Dan Mullen has brought that back since Myers and Steve Spurrier. But if we're not going to stop them, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You have to have the elite defense as well to go win championships, to go win the SEC, to go win the national championship, and to compete. It is so important. If Dan does not make this change, it's going to cost him to be. He's not. I don't feel like he's on the hot seat. I think the decision that he has to make is going to put him on the hot seat, and so he's got to make this change. He's got to go find somebody that's going to make this an elite defense and an elite offense, and then we'll compete. We'll compete with the rest of these guys.
I'll put it this way: if Maloney doesn't fire Todd Grantham, it might cost him his job.
It is. It's going to cost him his job. It's going to cost him his job because he's not making it's the same thing with Will and them. They couldn't find. It's not that they were bad coaches. They were great coaches in their field. They needed to find somebody that was going to be that guy on the other side, and they just Dan has got to make this decision. The good thing is Grantham's contract does end at the end of the year. His I think his daughter graduates at the end of the year, So there's a good
Did his
chance
daughter,
that it probably will
did
be.
his daughter go to UF?
Yes, if she plays a sport or something, I don't know what sport. I just know that she's there. It's part of the contract to him being there, and I know that all ends this year. So if this is the year to do it, and I don't think he's going to do it right now, but he needs to go ahead and hurry up, and make a decision. Maybe it's after the Georgia game. I don't know, but he needs to make a decision
To be
because
honest with you, I think depending on how bad the defense is, I think he waits till the end of the year.
it probably will wait till the end of the year, but I worry about that because it just hurts. It hurts recruiting. It puts us behind in recruiting. Let's get the staff in now to start holding these recruits. We already had one. There was one that was supposed to be committed to Florida, went to Oklahoma today. It's already happening. They know Grantham's on the hot seat. So if he needs to go ahead and make a decision, I don't care if it's after the Georgia game but he needs to go ahead and make it. And if Grantham needs to stay at University of Florida for a couple more months, give him an assistant job. I don't know, somewhere else, but he got to
But
make a decision.
I don't mean to cut you off, Daryl, but the yeah, Saturday's game was the end for me. I have seen enough of this
Oh
shit
no,
show.
no, I'm agreed, and it started last year, Lucas. I mean, it started last year. We all were saying, oh, well, you can't stop the slant. We can't stop, and we can't go and score 50 points and 42 points and 46. We scored points all last year in every one of our losses. We scored points. We scored way enough points to beat them. The year that we went and gone and played the LSU team that went and won the national championship that year, we scored points in that game.
Right. If you,
We just could not physically stop them, and it's a continuous thing, and that is where Dan can run an offense. Dan
yeah,
is one of the best at that. He's doing this with lesser talent than what some of these teams are doing.
yeah,
He did it
definitely.
at home against Alabama this year. Dan can scheme an offense. He's probably going to do it in 2 weeks. He's going to have a scheme that's going to put us in the game. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Georgia scores 40 points and we're scoring 41 points. It doesn't matter. It's we cannot keep having that. The defense has got to make stops. They have to be elite, just like the offense.
You've got to learn to get the hell off a block when the same one play is going.
Yeah.
I was tired of seeing it. The commentators were saying it. I was saying it. Social media was saying
Making
it.
That's
making
I,
Shane
I'm
even
sure.
say
I'm
I
sure there was, their coaches. They
make
were they
Cooper
were
even
there. Hold on, Lucas. They were there. They see it. They're witnessing it. They're able to talk to these players, and they can't tell them to make a change. Like they're not throwing the ball really deep. So why are we not cheating the safety, bringing the safety up, and kind of filling in a gap to where we don't have to see this play get ran time and time 15, 20 times in a game to where there's 11 explosive plays that are 10 yards or more, just a 40 yarder, a 22 yarder, an 18 yarder. You know, 11 plays that are 10 yards or more against this Florida defense that, came into the game, pretty good on the run, stopping the run, but, just couldn't get off the block, just, didn't play physical enough. Just, I don't know, if it's player personnel, but the player personnel should have been taken care of. We've seen this enough in the game to make the adjustments. But now I feel now it's Grantham. Grantham's
yeah.
got to go, and Grantham's not helping this team, get to that next level. Like you said, Daryl, this offense is putting up way too many points for the defense to just get a good stop. Get a
If
stop.
if
Get
at
some.
halftime,
like
if
I
at
said, if we get one goddamn mother
yeah,
bleeping stop, we win the game on
We
Saturday.
we don't have many turnovers on defense. We don't have many
yeah,
sacks on defense. We only had one sack, and that was a half a sack by Hopper and Carter. So,
yeah,
we don't have the edge rushers. I mean, coming into the season, I thought we were going to have some pretty good
I
edge
thought so.
rushers. But, I'm not sure. Is this team just not as good as what we
So
want them to be?
look, I definitely did not expect. I thought, you want my honest opinion? My honest opinion was, the 2020 season was the year that I felt that we had a chance to make a run. for for the playoffs. Maybe not national champion, but at least for the playoffs. And if we would have had a defense, we would have.
Mhm.
Because we beat teams and we were in games that we shouldn't have been. I mean, we shouldn't even have been that close to the Alabama game, but we were. And I thought that was our best year. I did not think that this year we were going to just all of a sudden change quarterbacks and make a playoff run. But I did not have us initially losing to Kentucky. Now Kentucky's better than we think they are.
Mhm.
I
I
dang
think they
sure
were going
didn't.
to give us a run for our money.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I did. Well, I dang sure didn't think we would lose like we did in LSU. I mean, it just
or Kentucky. When you lead in passing, total yards, rushing, passing, turnovers are the same, but you shoot yourself in the foot and have 15 penalties. And then
it
two
would.
weeks later on the road against LSU, you have no penalties throughout the whole game. So, yeah, you clean that up, but then you just fall apart elsewhere.
It would not surprise me. We go to Jacksonville. We either make it really close or even beat them, and then a couple weeks later go lose to like South Carolina, Missouri. It just wouldn't surprise me because that's what we do, and at least right now that's what we're doing. This could be Dan Mullen's worst year. This could be Dan Mullen's worst year at the University of Florida. If he doesn't make some changes next year, yeah, he's going to be on the hot seat. He's going to
And,
be on the hot seat next year.
yeah, and I don't like to look ahead into the schedule too far because I like to take
No.
one game at a time.
But
But when you look at the way this season has been, I mean, we're a flawed team. I'm not saying we're flawed in the ways of like offensively. I mean, I feel we are because we just put up 138 yards rushing, and we were third in the nation in rushing. And I understand from game to game, you take the weaknesses of what your opponent's giving you. But LSU couldn't stop the run coming into this game, and we really didn't run too much on them. So the roles of everything were just so reversed in this
yeah,
game.
and
You
one
can
thing I'm
tell it
afraid
comes down.
of, one thing I'm afraid of at this point in the season is the buy-in, the buy-in from the players, right? Because maybe they had expectations to go play rematch Alabama, right? The fan base had
Mhm.
expectations. I'm concerned about the buy-in from the fan base. Are we going to fill the stadium when we're at home versus Sanford and Florida State? That's some things that we're going to have to watch because you start losing the fan base. That's important. That's when you start losing your job. I mean, the fan base is important too, and the
Well,
players. I think the players. I'm really curious to see if the players stay bought in, because it just didn't seem like they were bought in. At least on the defensive side, it did not seem like they were bought in.
right,
Not in the LSU game.
exactly. And you make a very good point of what do you do because you're kind of in a catch 22 on how you go about the Todd Grantham situation. Recruits are huge game, and who you have coaching, obviously. So on one foot, do you fire him now and then start getting somebody else in and trying to keep these recruits
I
that,
would.
that are in here, or
I would.
do you say okay, because we know Dan Mullen's a loyal person. So are they just going to let Todd Grantham finish out the year and then make the change? So what weighs better for the future? And I feel what weighs better for the long term of the future. And it might hurt some feelings or burn some bridges, but I feel Todd Grantham's got to go now.
I agree. I agree. And here's another reason why I agree with this. You have two other universities right now that are looking for head coaches. Well, guess what? They're also looking for offensive and defensive coaches. And we're going to be competing with them schools to find this person to replace. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to be competing with LSU. We're going to be competing with the Trojans over there in California. So if we don't start now, we're going to be behind the ball game. We might get third or fourth place in the defensive coordinator ball. So I think it's huge to go ahead. The season's over. Not that the season's over. We still have a lot to play for. We still can go beat Georgia. We still can go play in a bowl game. But what I'm saying is the season's over as far as the expectations of what the fan base expects.
Mm-hmm.
So let's and the recruits are committed to coaches a lot of times. There's some that are committed to the school, but there's some that a lot of them are committed with relationships to coaches,
Right.
and it's just if I know that when we do finally get rid of Grantham, whether it's now or at the end of the season, we're going to lose some guys.
Yeah.
And so I would rather go ahead and start building that relationship up now. Not
I
let's
agree.
not wait. Let's do it now. I was surprised we didn't have an announcement today. I was ready. I was looking at Facebook all day, ready for Todd Grantham to be fired from the University of Florida. And I am. You
I
guys know
I
me.
honestly I don't mean to cut you off, Daryl, but I honestly think he waits till the end of the year.
I know, and I think that's a huge mistake. But
Right. Right.
but I'm gonna tell you, you guys know me. I am not a fire coach person. When Will
I,
Muschamp was there and McElwain was there, I mean I lived with them guys until the last day. I am not a fire coach person, but
So one
Grantham's got to go.
so one question before we wrap things up. Um, if you spill the beans and you have another lackluster performance on the defensive end against a team like South Carolina or Missouri,
Yeah,
um, you think he's out the door then, or do you let him finish out the season?
he should be out the door today.
He
But
should be out the door today,
yeah,
but
I'm gonna
one
tell
more
you what
squander, I think
we
it's gotta you gotta
we
cause.
got to go to. Do we go to South Carolina this year?
we go to Columbia. We go to both
Yeah,
Columbias.
Yeah, we go to South Carolina and we go to Missouri. I'm gonna tell you right now, it would not surprise me if we go beat Georgia and lose to one of those two teams in South Carolina or Missouri. It would not. And I'm gonna hurt a lot of Florida fans right now. Okay, next 2 weeks. Okay, next week, Florida State is going to be almost tied with us. Okay, and then in 2 weeks, Florida State may be ahead of us in wins and losses. Okay, take that for a minute. Okay, Florida State, they lost their first 4 games. They're going to be tied with us but next weekend and ahead of us after the Georgia game if we don't win it. Okay? This is Dan Mullen's worst year if he does not do something
I
right
agree.
away.
I agree.
Right away.
I know we usually wrap up here with if you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait, but we're kind of our own Gator bait right now, so we won't leave off with that one tonight. But another great podcast, and thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and make sure y'all like this, share this, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Bye,
Um,
guys. I'm gonna.
Thank y'all for jumping on with us, and we will be back on Thursday night at 7:30 for the pregame. Not next week, or not this week, but next week for the Georgia game. So y'all tune in for that.
Hey,
Daryl, is there anything you want to wrap up with?
yeah, so listen, I know bad loss, LSU. We
Bad
are
loss.
doing a tailgating party for the Georgia game, and it's listed on the Facebook group.
I wish I could go, but I
Yeah,
have a
I
stupid.
wish you could, man, Lucas. I
I
wish you
wish I
could,
could go,
man.
but I have a stupid Halloween party the same day as the
But
game.
listen, if you guys are really interested in going, I put the link on there. You guys are more than welcome to come and hang out. And I believe Bobby's going to try to go, and my family will
Yes.
be there. Come out, regardless, win or lose. We're gonna be pulling for the Gators, of course, to beat Georgia. But um, come out.
Obviously, the game doesn't have as much hype as what it had,
No,
but
it won't. It won't.
it's the Florida Georgia rivalry, and it's going to be a great game
Yeah,
regardless of
this
record.
this would be a huge upset if we do win. So
The pressure's
just
not
come out
on
if you want
Florida,
to come out.
so
So if not, that's fine too. But we'll be out there. Come see us and hang out for a little while. If you want to watch the game there, you can. So go
yes.
Gators.
So y'all have a good night and go Gators.